Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by National Car Rental, go national, go like a pro. I meant what I said. Family. Great to have Steve Carlton and Julian Javier, Larry Jaster back here in St. Louis. The celebration of the 1968 St. Louis Cardinals. Along with Tim McCarver, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is with us as well. Well, no surprise, a rain delay, and that means Michael Wacha. It rains every 5th day, it seems like, when he's on the mound. Wacha always dealing with a rain delay, and again, that's the case. The good part of it is, Tim, he didn't warm up, he didn't get loose, you know, so it is pushed back a bit, but did not have the warm-up tosses and get hot early.
Yeah, dealing with the rain and the whole bit. I tell you, Michael has been dealing with no support the last 3 starts. He's only given up. He's pitched very well, but the Cardinals have only scored 3 runs for him over his last 3 starts, and that's no way to win. The
Cardinals offense, a lot of missed opportunities last night. A look at the Phillies lineup. Cesar Hernandez, Rhys Hoskins, Odubel Herrera, Carlos Santana, Jorge Alfaro, Nick Williams, Scott Kingery, Pedro Florimon. He homered last night. And the pitcher, and he can swing it, that's Jake Arrieta. That was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, man. Tell me about it. Love it.
I feel badly for you that you got to be stuck here with me and you can't go enjoy the reunion with the rest of your teammates.
Well, I have a job to do, and I'll celebrate later.
You got it.
That's what I usually do anyway.
An hour 35-minute rain delay, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Michael Wacha, his Hyundai pitch arsenal, 9th start of the year, trying to win his 50th game of his young career. Be the 11th youngest Cardinal to get to 50. Be 27 on the 1st of July. Nice play, Jed Jerko. You heard about the news with Paul DeYoung. He's going to miss considerable time after being hit by a pitch last night. The Cardinals defensively with Ozuna, Pham, and Fowler in the outfield. Around the horn presented by Dobbs. Carpenter, Jerko, Wong, and Martinez on the infield. And Francisco Pena is behind the plate. Well, Jed Jerko could see a lot of time at shortstop. The Cardinals with a couple of moves. Jairo Munoz was brought up. And so he's been added to the bench along with Tyler O'Neill.
That's one of those odd things. Cesar Hernandez getting jammed on that pitch. When you think about Michael Wacha, you rarely think about him jamming hitters. You don't see that often because he doesn't have that 2-seam fastball that goes in on right-handers. To support what you said, Dan.
Yep, Bowman and DeYoung on the DL, and then the other 2 moves. Boy, it's been a banged-up club, hasn't it? Wow. Now, with that, I think you look at it, if you're Mike Matheny and John Mozeliak in the front office, you tell these young players, you wanted an opportunity? Well, here you go.
Amen, brother. I'm glad you said that. You know, one player's plight is another one's opportunity.
You bet.
You need a left fielder? I'm your man. If you're a guy like Harrison Bader, for instance, not saying he's going to move into that spot occupied by Ozuna right now, or Dexter Fowler.
There's 2 outs, 14 different players to the DL. They've used the disabled list 17 different times. Second most DL visits in Major League Baseball. Texas with 19. That sums it up.
And that's part of the story. Offense, a bigger part of the story, in my opinion. Their offense has been horrible. And last night, an example.
Here's Herrera, who has reached base in 43 straight. We turn to Tim McCarver's Toyota keys to the game.
And that's why they are the keys to the game. The offense got to get going if they're going to continue to contend in the tough National League Central. risp in peace. I mean, we're trying to have fun with that, and I mean the risp, of course, is runners in scoring position. I mean, last night was, you know, it's unheard of. Those last 2.5 innings, last 2 1/3 innings. One opportunity after another squandered with runners in scoring position.
Cardinals went 2 for 11. Herrera's swing and a miss, and a good start for Michael Wacha. The Phillies go in order, and the Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Leads it off for the Cardinals here in game number 2. And Pham will face a tough right-hander in Jake Arrieta. The Cardinals lineup: Matt Carpenter and Jose Martinez to follow Pham. Then Ozuna, Jerko, Fowler, Wong, Pena, and Wacha. Jake Arrieta 3-1, coming off a no decision, 7-inning start. Gave up 5 hits and no runs last time out. And the Hyundai pitch arsenal, variety of pitches and very tough on right-handed batters. I wonder, Tim, we talk a lot about the players that missed spring training, in particular pitchers, guys that signed late. Arrieta signed about midway through, maybe a little bit past that halfway point of spring. But he keeps himself in ridiculous condition.
Unbelievable.
And that's got to play a part in him being able to play catch up.
Yeah. That, and I think it's easier for a starting pitcher too, because a bullpen, a guy like Greg Holland, for instance, that signed late with the Cardinals, he's a guy who could be needed the minute he's ready. He doesn't have the 3 or 4 days to rest to be part of the rotation. But he's needed right now, and I'm sure that's part of the problems that Greg Holland has encountered thus far.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Tommy Pham. You mentioned it last night. You know, the Phillies are saying, you know what? We're not bad on paper. We had Jake Arrieta. We're pretty good.
Well, I mean, that to me was the signature that the Phillies needed to give them confidence enough to think that they could win on a consistent basis. Good at bat by Tommy Pham. Only 14 walks by Arrieta thus far. Tommy Pham fighting his way on first base.
Now time for Old Dominion bringing his best. Jake Arrieta, career against the Cardinals. He is 8-4 and a very good ERA, 2.27. That ERA, the 8th lowest of any pitcher that's made at least 15 starts against the Cardinals in their career.
What credentials he has: a Cy Young Award in 2015, 2 no-hitters to his credit, Silver Slugger Award in 2016. This guy's legit.
Carpenter, his old buddy here on the mound from TCU. Those two played together, and Matt has had his struggles. 2 for 33 against Arrieta. Those 2 hits, home runs. In each other's weddings, still very close. Matt Carpenter on the left, Jake Arrieta there on the right. The Horned Frogs of TCU. Three infielders on the right side.
You know what, Dan? When Arrieta was with the Cubs, he did not have that open stance facing home plate. What that does, it lends that left foot a little bit more toward first base to cut down on stolen bases. He's almost pitching with an open stance. Not Carpenter, but Arrieta. Leaving that left foot open like that, it clears the front side and makes you quicker to first base, because sure enough, Arrieta has been easy to run on for the better part of his major league career.
When you think about pitchers you can get after, certainly John Lester. He's allowed 110 stolen bases against him, and there's a base hit to left. Arrieta, by the way, 95. So the Cardinals could be aggressive here tonight, and there's Matt Carpenter using the whole field.
The 4th hit to left field this year off the end of the bat, but looked like it was a concerted effort to go that way. There's a difference in hitting fly balls that way, which is a nemesis to a lot of left-handers, and hitting little flares to left field.
Tim, there's no doubt Matt Carpenter has got to make the adjustment against the shift. It's that simple.
Yep, that's right.
Here's Jose Martinez, his 6th 3-hit game of the year last night, and he reached base 4 times. And ball 1. Two and 0.
Keep in mind, Jorge Alfaro, the catcher, has a gun for an arm. Talking to Gordon Lakey, the super scout for the Philadelphia Phillies before the game, I said, I've heard it's better than Contreras. Is it? He said no. Gordon always gives you the honest answer.
And he also said, though, it's pretty darn good.
It's pretty darn good. Yep.
Martinez, a double play ball, 4-6, 3 on the double play.
Wow.
The struggles continue with runners in scoring position. The Phillies defensively tonight. Hoskins, Herrera, and Williams in the outfield. Around the horn, presented by Dobbs. Kingery, Florimon, Hernandez, and Santana on the infield. Alfaro is behind the plate. By the way, he has thrown out 7 runners.
The curses of the game in some way, with hitting a ball hard and hitting into a double play, and the benefits of maybe hitting a ball off the end of the bat like Carpenter did.
Right.
So the woes of the game.
Ozuna, ground ball that's hit to short. The Cardinals last 13 games, and he is on the bag, are now hitting 180 with runners in scoring position.
That's why you run hard to first base.
Go download the app, and it's presented by T-Mobile. It'll be Carlos Santana, Jorge Alfaro, and Nick Williams. Tim, I want to go back to our interview just for a moment with Steve Carlton, who said something very sweet to both of us. I don't normally associate that description or word with Steve Carlton, but he said,
do I.
You know, he struggled getting in the booth physically. He's just walking down the steps, and it's a tight booth. And he said, you know, at the end, he said, I'm going to struggle getting out of here. And I said, well, no, we'll help you get up. And he said, no. He said, you don't understand. I actually enjoyed this. And he said, I don't do these things ever except with you two. And we've done a number of events with him now and had him up here in the booth. And
he's a lot of fun. He's very smart, very intelligent, extremely good vocabulary.
He doesn't talk to many people.
No, he doesn't. He's very shy.
It's a treat to get him. You know, you make a case he's the greatest left-hander that walked the planet. We've had him in the booth a couple of years in a row, and I just want to make sure that we get it out there publicly. I know his son follows us all the time.
Scott.
We appreciate it very much. It's great to have him on. And a strikeout and a good changeup by Michael Wacha.
Good changeup. I'm going to seal the Steve Carlton thing. When he was inducted in 1994 in the Hall of Fame, I was at his table, and I was asked to say something. I said, no, tonight's for Lefty and the whole bit. And so Lefty had the microphone, and he said, you got to say something. He said that. Now, when he says that, I've got to say something. So I said, if Carl Hubble goes down the history of the game as having the best screwball, Nolan Ryan arguably the best fastball, Sandy Koufax curveball, Steve Carlton will go down as having the greatest slider in the history of the game. And so we hugged. It was very emotional, tearing up and the whole bit. It was very, very emotional. And I see this figure swimming through the crowd, and it's giving it as he got closer. As it got closer, I heard him go. It was Gibson. And Gibson gets about 6 inches from my face and says, the best left-handed slider in the history of the game. And that is a true story. And then he skulked away.
Only Gibby, right?
Only Gibby.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Now Alfaro hits it down the right field line, and it's just fair. And it's a 1-out base hit.
You know, the memory lane really important, obviously, to those involved. And that camaraderie, as Steve talked about, Larry Jaster, Julian Javier. And unfortunately, there's a flip side. And Nick Williams is the unfortunate flip side for the Philadelphia Phillies, because he's from right around Galveston, Texas. And Santa Fe, Texas is right between Galveston and Houston. And he knew quite a few of the coaches in the horrible tragedy today that took place in Santa Fe, Texas. And our memories, and indeed it's said often, but our prayers legitimately for those young people.
And then it brings in Scott Kingery after the line out by Williams.
We were told that story by Scott Francie, who is an announcer for the Philadelphia Phillies, and it's just hard to bear.
Yeah. One final thought on Steve Carlton. I'm sure our fans had never heard the fact that he had called Bing Devine back and said, I'll accept whatever offer you may have on the table, which was $6,000. And instead, Bing Devine said, too late. 10 minutes too late.
Gussie had made his mind up. I mean, you think about the owners of the Cardinals, Anheuser-Busch, they were going through a lot in those days. Kurt Flood talked about the reserve clause the year before, the trade I was involved in with Byron Brown and Joe Horner.
It's off the glove of Wacha. That'll be an infield hit.
And then Steve Carlton has the gall to ask for $6,000 more. And so Gussie Busch said, trade him. And the next year, left-hander Jerry Royce, trade him. And the Cardinals folded for that decade of the 70s. And they had some good other players, too. Guys like Keith Hernandez coming along.
Close 2 or 3 times to getting into the postseason.
Yes, right.
If you got Carlton and Jerry Royce, too, add him to the equation.
And by the way, the Philadelphia Phillies won the divisions in 76, 77, and 78 behind Steve Carlton.
Pedro Florimon at the plate. That pitch is popped up. Foul territory. Carpenter over and holds on, makes the catch. Morning, and it was fun. I was hosting the function with John Mozeliak and Mike Matheny. And so we started taking questions from the crowd. And who's in the crowd but Benji Molina?
Oh.
And I said, well, wait a minute. Why are you asking the questions? We need to ask you the question.
Yeah.
And the main question that Cardinal fans want to know, how is Yadier Molina?
Sure.
And Mike did touch upon it. Mike has actually told Yadi, don't be tempted. Stay home if you need to rest. We know it's going to be a time that you'll be ready to go. And John Mozeliak said something that I thought was refreshing. And there's Polo Asensio on the left end. Benji there on the right, who does the Spanish broadcast, and they're a lot of fun. But John said, Yadi is a throwback in a way. He said where, some guys, they get hurt and the money comes and they collect checks. He said Yadi feels like it's almost, that pitch a little bit low, that it's not
your employer or something?
It's cheating your employer.
Yeah.
It's not right. And but that sums up Yadier Molina. I mean, the guy has been a gamer for so many years, wants to play. I asked you the other day if you'd seen anything or dealt with anything as a catcher before like what he's gone through, and he said no. You've had plenty of bad hits to the area, but not to that extent. But slowly but surely, the team leader and the MVP of this team and this franchise will be back very soon, we hope. Cardinals are 4-6 in the 10 games since Molina has been out.
Well, you hear that expression a lot with different circumstances. That phrase, "you will be missed." It never applied in caps anymore when Yadier Molina.
I get asked all the time from opposing broadcasters and media. They always want to know about Yadi, face of the franchise for so many years. And I think the greatest compliment you can give any player, or certainly a catcher, a demanding position, is that he answers the bell every single game. Day game after night game. Team going through a tough stretch, good stretch.
Winning, losing.
Yeah, he's there.
It's easy to be there when you're winning. It's tough to be there when you're losing.
Yeah. This would be an 8-pitch at bat now, the 8th pitch of this at bat for Jed Jerko.
Stay alive on pitches like that, a nasty slider away, and hope that Arrieta makes a mistake. He didn't make many of them.
And a swing and a miss, but it gets to the backstop, and Jerko beats it out. So the Cardinals get the leadoff man aboard. Arcia drive to success. Dexter Fowler against his former teammate Jake Arrieta. Very good numbers, 5 for 8. Double, triple, and a run driven in.
It's scored a strikeout in the pass ball. That ball was in the dirt, but you know, we noticed a lot of drop balls by Alfaro last night. One on that play at the plate when Fowler was on at third base, eventually being tagged out by Alfaro. It was a throw from the shortstop. Something to kind of tuck away, as players will do.
And a ground ball double play. 4-6, 3 on the double play. Hernandez, Florimon, and Santana. And it brings in Colton Wong, who snapped an 0 for 21 last night with his single late in the ball game.
The Cardinals have had their leadoff man in the first 2 innings against a tough pitcher. 2 double plays erased both runners.
One thing that Jake Arrieta could do, and that pitch is popped up in the air, but he gets a lot of ground balls. 57.9%. 4th highest in Major League Baseball, and that's one way you get out of jams.
How does a pitcher get ground balls with low strikes? I know that sounds simplistic, but it's a fact. His breaking ball is down, his fastball is down. This guy is a true professional. Awfully tough.
And a ground ball into the shift. That's the shortstop Florimon, and he makes the play. Jose Oquendo on the right, working with some different guys in the middle infield. And with more on that, let's check in with Jim.
Yeah, Paul DeJong had surgery on his fractured left hand earlier today. The Cardinals told me it was a successful procedure. DeJong broke his 5th metacarpal after getting hit by a pitch in the 8th last night. John Mozeliak said this earlier today in regard to DeJong. Obviously, he's going to miss some time. We'll just see how the next couple of weeks play out to see when he might be able to return. But Dan, the Cardinals say his surgery today was successful.
Yeah, it's a big loss. There's no question. Young man that's off to a great start in his career. Not even a full year in the big leagues. May 28th will be DeJong's major league debut, at least the full year, and made that debut in Colorado a season ago and homered off of his current teammate Greg Holland. There's Jake Arrieta, 091 at the plate, but he can swing it. 5 career home runs and a base hit into left.
Here's a guy who's made himself a better hitter by the way he takes care of himself. He is a remarkable athlete and he's used it to his benefit, primarily offensively. As we said last inning, he won the Silver Slugger Award in 2016.
And last year went to Adam Wainwright. Wainwright has been put on the 60-day DL for fans that don't know, and will try to come back at the tail end of the season. A pitch inside to Cesar Hernandez. Right now leads all second basemen in walks, second in on base percentage. And he's done a good job at the top of their lineup. He's reached base in 37 of their 41 games that he's played in.
I think that was a trick, that square around. I don't believe he's bunting.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Just missed low and outside.
You may notice Jose Martinez at first base playing in front of the runner. We noticed that last night. And one of the reasons he does that, he doesn't want the runner in between him and the hitter because it obscures his view. So he plays it a couple of steps in front of him, and that way he may play a little closer toward home plate for a left-handed batter, but he sees the ball better. At least that's the theory behind Jose's maneuvering there. Makes the runner go around him.
The 2-2 pitch. Tapped foul. Hernandez has seen the second most pitches of any batter in baseball. You think about a leadoff man and the importance of maybe going deep into a count, letting your teammates see the arsenal of a pitcher.
Yeah, he's a very valuable guy. Great defender, good base runner, all facets of the game.
And a ground ball. Can they turn 2? Might be tough to do that. Yep, no throw from Jerko. They do get the lead man. Now time for Lowe's whole team together. Lowest starting staff ERA in Major League Baseball, and the starters have been outstanding for the Cardinals. Houston, Washington, led by Max Scherzer. Houston, Justin Verlander, and then the Cardinals 3.07. Very, very good. Rhys Hoskins is driven in 26 this year, with 24 of those coming in the first month.
home running around park.
Thank goodness there's foul poles. That's in the upper deck, but yanked foul. Hoskins has been struggling here lately. Last 16 games hitting 153. And the 0-1 pitch. And back in safely. Hernandez, who has 8 stolen bases, so you got to keep an eye on him.
You're also dealing with a guy with an unusual way that he holds his bat. His stance is not the point, but it's the way the barrel of the bat droops below the shoulders. It takes a very strong guy to hit like that. The reason it does is because he's got farther to travel with that bat head. First thing he has to do is straighten the bat up and then come through the ball. So it's very difficult. You may remember the Darryl Strawberry days with the New York Mets. Of course, he really wrapped his bat. Only real strong guys can do that because it takes a strong guy to be quick enough to hit the ball out in front.
Here's the 0-2. One ball and 2 strikes. The Cardinals come into play tonight despite all the injuries. Still only 2 games out and 5 games above the 500 mark, and what could be a fun summer with Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, St. Louis, and Chicago. And that's yanked foul. We had that visit with Gordon Lakey, the longtime scout of the Phillies, and 49 years now working in Major League Baseball. And we said, are you going to retire? He said, well, I'm thinking about it. And I said, you can't stop now. You got to get to 50. And USA Today and Bob Nightingale, if you look it up on your computer, did a wonderful piece on Gordon.
Really great piece.
And just the life of a scout. And it certainly isn't glamorous, is it?
No. The loneliness of it.
Oh, man.
Talk about the loneliness of a long distance runner. It's similar for scouts in baseball, or I guess scouts anywhere.
Here's a 1-2 pitch and a swing and a miss. Good changeup again from Michael Wacha. Boy, that's a good pitch. He's always had that good changeup.
To a big strong guy who has hit the ball, pulled the 2 balls hard, foul. It's ideal to come back with a changeup to somebody who's shown that type of strength.
Odubel Herrera. This guy has turned into a star, hasn't he?
Good player. All-Star game began on Tuesday. He'd be the starting center fielder. Easy choice.
I would put Tommy Pham also in that conversation.
Sure.
I think Tommy will head to his first All-Star game, and what a great story that would be. A perseverance of Tommy Pham all the years in the minor leagues, drafted in 06, finally got the shot to come up in 14. And I'm pulling for him. Love watching him play.
Got a lot of Cardinal fans pulling for Tommy Pham. No question about that. Pham bam.
Tim, you know, at this day and age of sports, you just appreciate a guy that hustles, runs, competes. And I love what he said. I mentioned it last night. He's got a lot of personal goals, but he said, look, that's all great, but it looks a lot better when we win. And if we can win, it showcases me even more. It's about winning.
And smart enough to realize that when you win, a lot of good things can happen. A lot of mistakes are covered up. A lot more attention is paid to your individual achievements.
How do you not pull for a guy that decided to stick with it when many maybe didn't believe in you, including some, as he told me, in his own family, and said, you know, you might want to think about giving it up. You've been doing this a long time. You haven't gotten the call up. And he said, no way. They're going to have to pull this jersey off me. Mentioned it last night as well. Herrera, a Rule 5 pickup, and here he is, turning into one of the top players in the game. Hitting .396 here in the month of May, third best in all of baseball. The 1-2 pitch. Got him. Strikeout for Michael Wacha. That's 4 tonight for Wacha, and 2 in the inning. Back-to-back of Hoskins and Herrera. Good breaking ball. Midway through 3, and there's no score. Pena, Wacha, and Tommy Pham. Career high 3 hits last night for Francisco Pena, and he's hit in 4 straight overall.
And we talk about how cruel the game can be to you. Last night, some very, very good at bats by Francisco. 3 hits, as Dan said. The only time he made an out was with runners on at second and third, and he grounded to short. Got Dexter Fowler in a rundown, and the Cardinals couldn't score their first run.
He stung the ball. Got a long look at Francisco Pena in spring training, along with Carson Kelly, who's now on the DL. Stephen Barron has been called up. So the Cardinals catching depth with Yadier Molina being tested right now. And here's the 0-2 pitch. And he taps it foul. If you missed it, Larry Jaster was part of our rain delay, and it was great because the 68 team is here. We have a rain delay, so it was perfect timing to get extended interviews. Julian Javier and Steve Carlton. I'm sure if you go to foxsportsmidwest.com, they'll have that up, or on their Twitter feed. If you missed it, good for Pena. Base hit into center.
And there is the ever-present Odubel Herrera about 15 feet from the center field fence.
Plays a very deep center. You compare that to a guy like Jim Edmonds, who played so shallow.
Yeah.
How about Pena? He's now 5 for his last 7.
That's uncharacteristic of Arrieta, with a mistake with 2 strikes to right-handed batters. He doesn't do that often.
And Waka takes one down the middle. That's strike 1. The corners are coming in. Kingery at third, Santana at first. Michael, 1 hit this year. He's 1 for 15. Outfield very shallow if he decides to swing the bat.
Alfaro, the catcher, looked down to first and faked, but there was nobody covering. First baseman Santana was in, and Hernandez wasn't even close to first base.
And the bunt is down, but it rolls foul.
Reason the bunt was foul was the bat was in foul territory. It's very simple about bunting. If the bat's in fair territory, then the chances of bunting it fair are better. See, the bat's in foul territory. The barrel should be ahead of the hands.
For the most part, the Cardinals pitching staff and the
They
team
do a
overall,
good job. Yes.
very good job.
Yes.
14 sack bunts, second most in all of Major League Baseball.
Which means the National League for the most part.
Yes. DH in the American League. Don't see the bunt all that often.
No.
Don't see many bench players in the American League become a factor like it does in the National League.
That's the point.
Cincinnati leads in that category. Seattle, by the way, an American League team with 13. And Waka gets the bunt down, and he does his job. You can download the app, play for free, start your streak, and compete to win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today. That's in the App Store or on MLB.com/BTS.
Shows you how important sacrifices are sometimes, particularly in a tie ball game with your best hitter up. You're bunting a guy to second base for Tommy Pham, who's been the most productive hitter for the Cardinals this year, along with Jose Martinez.
I'd probably put Molina in that category too.
Molina too, sure.
Cardinals, you know, we
Yachty
talk about,
obviously not on the list now. That's why I didn't include
yeah,
him.
you know, you think about the leadership that he brings at defense, but boy, the Cardinals miss his bat too. So here's Tommy Pham, who walked back in the first inning. Pham is hitting .320 with runners in scoring position. 1 home run. He's driven in 9. And the 1-1 pitch to Tommy Pham. Base hit into right. Tommy comes through again. Skips all the way to Herrera. Tommy thinking 2 out of the box. A double. And it's 1-0 St. Louis. How many times do we say it? Doubles are created out of the batter's box. And that's what Tommy Pham just did.
And they're also created by doing the little things in baseball that mean so much. First, the sacrifice. Getting Pena, a slow runner, to second base, and now a double by Pham, plating the first run of the ball game. Pena scores easily. Tommy Pham, double number 7 on the year, and the Cardinals take a lead.
110 miles per hour off the bat. And a breaking ball taken high. A shift on the right side of the infield. Little bloop single first time up, going the other way for Carpenter. And a strike, 1-1. I was talking with the Cardinals front office the other day about Tommy Pham, and they mentioned that exact play. I said, what stood out about Tommy as a minor leaguer? And they said, well, he has all the tools, just needs to get healthy. But anytime we watched him, we loved how aggressive he was coming out of the batter's box, looking. If it was a single, trying to make it a double. A double trying to make it a triple.
How many major league players? That's where triples are spawned, in the batter's box. Not when you get to second base or get to first base for a double. You run hard out of the box, and it is a growing trend in baseball that players do that. It's so cool to not run. I don't get it.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Carpenter. Two balls, 2 strikes on Matt Carpenter. As the rain is falling here at Busch Stadium, some of the umbrellas are out, the ponchos. John Vooch has been with the St. Louis Cardinals. It's him there at the top. Michael Gersha on the left, John Mozeliak on the right. And John Vooch paid Tommy Pham a great compliment. He said a couple of years ago, before he even made it to the big leagues and he was injured, he said, boy, we had drafted a lot of young outfielders, and Tommy's taking the time, guys that might take his job in the future, to show them how you shag, work on taking balls off the wall.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. That's nice.
Throwing to the proper cutoff man.
Now that is cool.
Said if you want to be a pro, this is how you go about and do it. And Pham showed younger guys that could take his job, this is how you be a pro ball player. That's a credit to Tommy Pham.
It sure is. Great story.
So 3-2 the count. Rain continues to fall, picked up just a bit here in the last minute or so. Carpenter pulls it foul. Eighth pitch of this at bat, 20th pitch of the inning coming up. Carpenter hits it sharply to first. It's knocked down by Santana. And advancing to third, Tommy Pham. Boy, Tim, that's got to be really frustrating for Carpenter. You go back to last night, and a typical defense hits a bullet towards second, and there's the second baseman in shallow right. This particular case, Carpenter's up, first baseman near the line. For a lot of other left-handed batters, that's extra bases. Hits the ball hard.
Yeah, but he got a flare his first time up. So I mean, you know, the game is screwy. It can be very cruel to you, and everybody knows that's a tough game to play.
Martinez hits it out of play.
Look how far Tommy Pham is off of third base, getting off as far as the third baseman Scott Kingery. You give Jake Arrieta something more to think about. Yeah, when you're off that far, you actually go into a pitcher's line of vision. His peripheral vision picks you up.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Martinez. As aggressive as Tommy is, and at this particular spot, if a ball just gets away and with his speed just a little bit, he could score.
Yeah, that's right. Giving yourself every chance to score that run. Go to the next base. That's your responsibility. When you're at third, go home. When you're at first, go to second. Second, go to third. That is the way the game is played.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Martinez. I'll tell you what, Jose Martinez doesn't strike out very often. He's in the top 10 of fewest strikeouts. Very good understanding of the strike zone. Don't see him chase a lot of pitches. The ability to fight off a 2-strike pitch.
With 2 strikes. That's about it. Curveball out of the strike zone occasionally.
325 the average with runners in scoring position. That pitch up 2-2.
Remember, we talked in the first inning about Alfaro and how we've noticed the last 1+ games that he has trouble with balls in the dirt. So maybe that's the obvious reason that Tommy Pham is farther down the line than he would normally be.
Martinez, a base hit into right. Plate coverage again. Spoils a pretty good pitch by Arrieta to make it 2-0 Cardinals.
Flair City, like the 4th of July.
Went down to get it, it looked like. And Jose Martinez makes it 2-0 Cardinals.
A curveball that Arrieta left up a little bit, hit off the end of the bat by Martinez. Oh, do they all count?
You bet. It's good to see after the frustrating night the Cardinals had late innings, a 2-out RBI base hit. And tonight 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Marcell Ozuna sitting on 99 home runs.
Marcell has stranded over the last 3 games 17.
And a ground ball chopped to third. Kingery throws it away. And Martinez advancing to third base. Just have to wonder if the rain is playing a factor on that type of play.
Probably. Valid point. We were going to say that prior to that at bat, Scott Kingery an error on the throw. Prior to that at bat, Marcell Ozuna is stranding runners, or stranding men, I should say, more than Elizabeth Taylor. Gotta have fun.
It's the amount of marriages too.
I don't know about that now. Come on.
Base hit into left off the bat of Jerko. 2 runs will score. 4-0 Cardinals. They make them pay after the air. Jerko drives in a pair. 4-0 St. Louis.
Making them pay is very appropriate. That was a high breaking ball, it looked like. No, high fastball. And Jed Jerko, one of the best clutch hitters in the National League, delivers. And a 4-0 Cardinal lead.
Arrieta should be out of the inning. Instead, still dealing here in the third with 2 outs. And it brings in Dexter Fowler.
Arrieta is probably saying, well, you got the sacrifice bunt. We lost the 8th place hitter. Think about the way this inning has been spun. Then Tommy Pham, a legitimate hit to right center. Martinez with a flare. And then the error, really a 2-base error by Kingery, because Jerko's single scored 2. That's how runs pile up.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, in Wacha's 3 previous starts, a total of 3 runs of support, but not the case tonight. Already 4 runs against a very tough Jake Arrieta. A check swing did not go, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Dexter, first time up, grounded into a double play. Rain continues to fall here at the ballpark. Bill Finley is the head groundskeeper. Does a wonderful job keeping this ballpark in grass and everything in shape. And he's been busy tonight, and he was out visiting with the crew chief. Takes out his phone, shows him the forecast, and hopefully we will not have another stoppage. That's a wild pitch. That puts Jerko in scoring position.
You remember the strategy employed 35 years ago when they had a lead and you're only in the 3rd inning and the other team's got 4 runs? Well, go ahead and make an out. Hurry up and make an out. No,
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Arrieta's 17 career starts against the Cardinals. Historically good ERA against them. Never allowed more than 4 earned in any outing. And tonight with the error that led to a couple of runs, so 2 have been earned so far and counting. The 3-2 pitch to Dexter Fowler. May have chased the ball. That's what you get sometimes, though, with a guy that's feeling for it. You know, Dexter historically in his career, very good batting eye. Don't normally see him chase a lot of balls.
Of course, you get back to that Ernie Banks theory. That's my RBI on second base. I'm going to swing at a ball that's just off the plate. That's mine, not the guy on deck. I love that kind of hitting and that kind of thinking. Ernie put it to good use.
Oh, I'd say. Inside. Ernie Banks is a shortstop twice. Led baseball in home runs. A-Rod did it twice. And currently, Manny Machado, remember, he's a shortstop this year for Baltimore, and he leads all of baseball in home runs.
Oh, good. Ernie Banks also the MVP in 1958 and 9, right? For a last place team.
Drew Hutchison, right-hander, throwing in the pen for the Phillies. And the 9th man to come to the dish for the Cardinals will be Colton Wong. Jake Arrieta had come into this start with 11 consecutive scoreless innings, but that's been snapped. The 4th spot here in the 3rd by St. Louis. 63 pitches tonight. And it's popped up, battling the raindrops falling in. Hoskins, and he makes the catch. Cardinals strand a pair, but they pick up 4. They've got 5 hits. Tommy Pham got it started. RBI double. Then Jose Martinez. And Jed Jerko, after an error, he made him pay. 4-0 Cardinals. And we mentioned injury bug has hit the Cardinals again, but an opportunity maybe for Tyler O'Neill. With more on that, let's check in with Jim.
Yeah, Tyler was recalled today. The Cards would love to see what he can do. He is putting together quite the season at Memphis. He was batting .319 with 13 homers and 31 RBIs. And he was on a bench, too. He had hit 4 homers in the past week. Of his hot streak, Tyler said, "I'm doing a good job of controlling the strike zone for the most part. I'm just making sure I'm starting early and focusing on seeing the ball, not focusing on mechanics or what the pitcher's trying to do to me, just trusting my ability and reacting." And Dan, it's O'Neill's second call-up. He told me getting that first hit out of the way would be big for him.
Boy, would it ever. Now, he did have an RBI, but never picked up that first hit, and that's always, when you talk to players, such a relief. Get that first one out of the way. Michael Wacha, 22-0, his career record when given a 4 or more run lead. We'll see if that holds true tonight. Grounds crew went out and did some of the touch-up work around the mound, a little bit at the plate as well. Always a concern for any manager. Yeah, you think about slipping, and boy, you hate to think about what could happen with that.
You slip less with a 4-run lead.
You stay out there and you're ready to roll.
Right.
I'll tell you what, his curveball tonight, and you know, and watching him since he came up 2012, that curveball is just getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
Popped up and out of play. Always had a good fastball, mid-90s, touches 97, 98.
Power changeup.
You bet. Santana has struck out his first time up, and he launches one out to deep right. Fowler going back at the wall. Leaps. He robbed him. He robbed him of a home run in right field. Dexter Fowler scales the wall and takes it back in.
He caught the right raindrop. It was bigger than the others.
Nicely done, Dexter Fowler.
Yeah, probably with, I don't know whether it had been a home run or not. Probably not with that loft coming down, but still a great play.
So 1 out. Jorge Alfaro, who doubled back in the second inning. Jim was talking about the moves the Cardinals have made, and so then you have subsequent moves in the minor leagues to fill those spots. Evan Mendoza hitting .349 in 37 games at Palm Beach. He has been promoted to Double-A. Cardinals very high on him. And another catcher, Andrew Kisner, hit the ball very well in spring training.
Good looking player from what you've told me. I haven't seen him play, but I'm anxious to.
Trying to, you know, really refine him defensively, but the bat, it plays, and he has moved up to AAA Memphis. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Alfaro.
Again, that's the law of the jungle, or at least the baseball jungle. The opportunities that are created through injury or what have you, ineffectiveness.
The excitement that's created for a young man too. You think about it, you get to Double-A, Triple-A, you're just a couple of steps, maybe just one away, and you're in the big leagues.
Some of those steps are longer for some players, but you get the drift.
Yep. It's the first 3-ball count that Wacha's had all night long. 3-2. may have caught Pena and the home plate umpire. Tonight, that's David Rackley. Man.
Glove, mask, mask.
Alfaro saying, yeah, I know how you feel. And a 1-out walk. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. And try the new Cholula Buttery Jack, part of the Buttery Jack family, only at Jack in the Box. 1-out walk, and it brings in Nick Williams. I can't imagine the memories and the different things that were going through your mind with Larry Jaster and Julian Javier and Steve Carlton up here in the booth tonight.
What's the words to that beautiful song? Memories like the corners of my mind. Warm and watercolored memories of the way we were. So young.
A ball and a strike. Check that. No balls, 2 strikes. Michael Wacha pitching ahead in the count. 10 of 15 first pitch strike, something you always like to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. He was the worst in baseball entering tonight's start. Done much, much better tonight.
Couple of day games coming up. The 68 team will be honored tomorrow before the game, so get here early. And a day game on Sunday as well.
Get here early and make us feel good. Come on.
Back to Wacha. Gathers and gets a lead man. Not sure if that hit him, hit the glove, where it got him, but that was blistered back to Michael Wacha. Adam Olson, the trainer of the Cardinals. Mike Matheny out. Pena, Mike Maddox.
You just hate to see the hands involved. Torso can handle it. Line drives off the thighs.
May have got him in the left forearm.
Forearms are much, much better, as we all know, than anything with bones in it.
Take a look here. Oh yeah, it sure did. You know, Tim, we talk so much about exit velocity and how hard guys are throwing now. I mean, 96 to 100 just doesn't even seem like a big deal anymore. What we don't talk about is that the players are bigger, stronger, and they're hitting the ball with velocity, and those baseballs are coming right back at the pitcher, and the dimensions of the game, it hasn't changed. I mean, you're getting a lot of scary comebackers to pitchers. We've seen it a bunch the last year and a half.
Well, one of the great things that has evolved in baseball, at least the trainer doesn't come out and spray ethyl chloride on the. That thing was probably the most worthless item in a trainer's bag. It actually made where it was hit hurt worse than relieve the pain. And I'm not kidding.
What did it just tell the trainer? I don't want it.
I did.
So get out of here.
No, I mean, he never came out there.
That's true too.
I said if I think I need somebody to look at what just happened, I'll come to you.
There's Scott Kingery. His first time up was off of Wacha. So is the second time. Wong. Oh, what a play. Colton Wong ranging far to his right. And the Cardinals defense picking up Michael Wacha. It started with a great play in right field by Dexter Fowler. And this dandy from Colton Wong.
Colton Wong has had a poor year offensively so far, but not defensively.
fun giveaway coming up, the Yachty Tumbler. Cardinals.com/promotions. That'll be Friday night, June 1st. Yadier Molina and the Yachty Tumbler. A look at our BJC Healthcare difference maker. Third inning, Tommy Pham with an RBI and a double into right center to drive in Pena. And then it was a two-strike base hit into right by Martinez. There was an error, and the Cardinals made him pay. Jed Jerko, the BJC Healthcare difference makers, and the Cardinals 3 for 7 tonight with runners in scoring position. Our Chevy call to the pen drew Hutchison into the ball game, and so Arrieta only last 3, 4 runs, 5 hits, struck out 1 and walked 2. That last inning, and Valentin takes over at third base. It's a 37 pitch inning for Jake Arrieta and threw a total of 64 for the game. I'm assuming Gabe Kapler is saying, look, it's a rainy night. He's our horse. He's our guy. Don't want to get him hurt. Labored through last inning, so we'll go to our bullpen here. And he's not shy about going to his bullpen. Here's Francisco Pena, single and a run scored. And the first pitch is strike. Pena now has hit in 5 straight, and that's a career high for him. And Pena hits it down the left field line and yanks it foul. He seems to be locked in right now.
Along with that, the moves made by Gabe Kapler, Scott Kingery making the last out of the inning. So the pitcher employed in that number 7 hole. So it saves your pitching staff, that double switch. That's the point. Primarily, it can only be used in the National League because there's a pitcher in a hitter's spot, DH in the American League, so no double switches.
It's fouled back. Stays 1 and 2.
At the risk of overdoing it, I hope you folks don't think that we're being simplistic in explaining some of these things, because there are those out there that may not understand the basis of what a guy like Gabe Kapler is going through, that a guy like Terry Francona in the American League is not having to go through.
Terry Francona, longtime manager. People often forget of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, right.
Right before they started to turn it around, and they had traded Scott Rowland. And that's hit down the left field line, and Pena is 2 for 2. One hops off the wall. He'll try for 2 into second base, sliding in with a double. And Francisco Pena is 2 for 2.
First extra base hit, 5 for his last 6. Fastball inside, and Pena turning on that pitch.
First career double for Francisco Pena. He has 5 hits now in his last 6 at bats. So he is locked in. And here's Waka again with a chance to help his cause.
Here, a situation like this, bunt the ball any place to the right side. Doesn't matter. You need to bunt it close to the pitcher. They're not going to make a play on Pena.
And a beautiful bunt put down by Waka, hustling down the line, and they missed it. Ball gets away, but Pena will stay put at third base. Just flat out missed it.
That was the second baseman, Cesar Hernandez, I believe, covering. So the way I saw it, it was going to be an error on him. Santana was charging the first baseman. So the error is on Cesar Hernandez. That's a good play by Waka, because just use the fat part of the field to bunt the ball. Too many things going on. The Phillies had that play where the shortstop goes to to third. The third baseman charges. It's a rotation play.
So sacrifice E4, infield drawn in. Tommy Pham has been on base twice. He has walked and also an RBI double. So Walker has done it on the mound and at the plate with his 2 sacrifices.
Important bunts, both.
You bet. Outside, 1-1. Two strikes on Tommy Pham. Drew Hutchison is a non-roster invitee to spring training. He's given up 2 earned in his first 2 2/3, and then 3 earned runs in just 13 innings after that. Wild pitch gets away. Pena racing to the plate. He'll score.
When we talked about it, Alfaro limping back to his position behind home plate, but we've talked about the problems he's had catching the ball. We noticed that last night this ball squirting through his legs, and catchers hate for that to happen, for balls to go through that little croquet hole back there. No, I beg your pardon, it actually came up. He was a victim of a bad hop, really. Ball hopping over his left shoulder. Appears to be all right, all part of the business. And it is a treacherous business back there at times.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Tommy Pham. Phillies, a lot of mistakes here tonight. The Cardinals have made the most of those. Out of play. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Tommy Pham. It's it down the right field line and out of play. Rain continues to fall here at the ballpark. It's been a steady rain for the past 25-30 minutes or so. The 3-2. Good at bat by Tommy Pham. He fell behind, fought off some pitches, draws a walk, on base for the 3rd time. Don't miss Budweiser Bash. Tuesday, May 22nd, the new Budweiser Terrace. Live music. Exciting new area of the ballpark. Get a theme ticket and a bobblehead will come your way, and an autograph from former Cardinal Brian Jordan. Tickets at cardinals.com/Budbash. Thought I spotted on the bobblehead. Not only is Brian Jordan holding a bat, but he's also carrying a football.
Two-sport star.
All-pro in football, tremendous baseball player too. Partner you would not want to be catching if he was rounding third in a play at the plate.
Nope.
Carpenter rips it into a double play.
Nothing Tommy Pham can do. Frozen at first base. That's the second ball. Carpenter's hit right on the button, right to first base.
I mean, what do you say? Can't hit the ball much harder than this. That's a third double play the Cardinals have hit into tonight. And right into the glove of Santana.
That's kind of a rare thing. Right here it is, 4 innings where you've had a chance for a double play. There have been 3 double plays in 4 innings, and yet the team that hit into the double plays leading 5-0.
Inside to Jose Martinez. I need to ask Jose maybe tomorrow or Sunday. Okay, when you're hopping around and you're talking, who are you talking to and what are you saying? I'm not sure any of it could be repeated, but I'll find out. He's dancing in there. He's waving his bat. I get a kick out of it.
Particularly when he takes a pitch and kind of holds both arms back, like, do that again. I don't know really what it means, but it's fun. Certainly animation.
Up the middle, diving stop. And what a play that is to save a run. A hit for Martinez. Walker stopped at third.
Well, they had the wherewithal to go to third base, and the reason he did that, he knew he couldn't get Martinez at first, so he was going to get an inexperienced runner like Waka rounding the bag at third. But watch Hernandez. He comes up immediately, throws the ball to third. A better view right here. This is the big league play right here. And the throw to the third baseman, hoping to get Waka around the bag. Michael not biting.
So runners at the corners, 2 outs here in the home half of the 4th. Marcell Ozuna. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Ozuna. Inside. Have a moment. Want to say congratulations to Joe Buck and his wife Michelle on the birth of their twin boys.
Yes.
Joe sent me a picture. There they are, Tim.
Oh boy. Beautiful, awesome. Twins and amazing and so much fun. Wow.
Look at the hair on the one on the right.
A lot of hair on the. It is amazing.
He needs mousse already or gel.
Oh, that's great.
Congratulations, Joe.
Yeah, that's great.
Here's a 3-0 pitch. And a strike.
2 little bucks, a quinella.
Joe will be a busy man coming up in the fall with the World Series and Thursday and Sunday football. The 3-1 pitch. Did he go? No. Now the bases are loaded. So Jed Jerko steps in with the bases loaded. Sometimes being on the road with newborn twins isn't necessarily the worst thing.
Well, you would know.
I would
Being
know.
the father of twins.
Tell you what,
And
it's
2 other lovelies.
greatest thing I've ever done. Have those babies, those twins.
You do it by yourself, you know.
I'll tell you what, I don't know how my wife does it. She's a saint. I actually thought
It's
about
the toughest job in the world, mothering.
Well, I've thought about writing the Vatican for sainthood. She's closing in on it. And then she has to put up with me.
Yeah, don't put your ticket into the battery or request for sainthood.
Trust me, I know.
Not with what I know about you, pal.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, it bites both ways.
Hey,
Come on.
It's too easy. It was on a tee for you. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Jed Jerko. And there's a strike, 1-1. St. Louis has turned out so many great broadcasters. Bob Costas headed to baseball's Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
That's it out of play.
I think KMOX spawned that, don't you think, Dan?
No doubt.
No question about it. The booming sound of KMOX through the years.
Bob always tells a story of first meeting Jack Buck. He said, "I've got ties older than you, kid." Bob was doing the St. Louis Spirits. Here's a 1-2. Out of play.
As a matter of fact, I think Bob succeeded Harry Carey, who was doing the American
Skip. Maybe it was Skip Carey.
I think it was Harry.
Really?
I think it was Harry. I could be wrong about this, but that's when Harry was in Memphis as the Spirit was playing the Memphis Tams. TAMS stood for Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. He was there and got a call from Elvis Presley and said it was the biggest day of his life. He went and spent the afternoon with Elvis at Graceland.
It's great.
It is. Said that in his book.
Won't be too long, and Joe Buck is headed to baseball's Hall of Fame.
Yeah, absolutely.
The 2-2 pitch. Pounded on the ground by Jerko, and a forced play at third. The Cardinals will strand. The base is loaded, but they pick up a run, and they add to their lead. 5-0 here in St. Louis. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. A rainy night here in St. Louis. And Michael Wacha finally making his way out to the mound for his warm-up tosses. So you have Greinke, Nola, and Wacha. Cardinals will face Nola on Sunday. National League starters with no losses at home and an ERA that's under 3. Pretty good group right there. And then trio of right-handers. Steve Carlton told us before our first pitch he left St. Louis. It was starting to come together. Learned the slider from Bob Gibson.
Learned it on the trip to Japan after losing to Detroit, when Detroit came back and, to their credit, won 3 in a row to win the World Championship. The Cardinals went to Japan, and on the way over, Steve Carlton learned the grip on the slider that was to put him in the Hall of Fame. Certainly a big part of putting him in the Hall of Fame.
1972, the Phillies were 59-97, 59 wins. Steve Carlton won 27.
I think it's about 44% of the wins of the Phillies. I wonder, you know what? Is that the most wins from a percentage standpoint? Actually 46%.
It's got to be, right?
46%. 457% to be exact. I wonder if that's the most ever.
You know,
I've never asked that question. I can't.
You caught both guys.
Right.
I'm curious what you think about this, but you know, everybody associates 1.12 with Bob Gibson, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great accomplishment, probably never matched again. I mean, is Carlton winning 27 on a team that has 59 wins? Is that up there right with Bob Gibson in 1.12?
That's how phenomenal Gibson's year was.
Okay.
I think
so
it
you're not
still
quite
stands
there.
alone. I don't think so. And I obviously would tell Lefty that. Kind of telling him by admitting it here or voicing my opinion.
He shakes your hand, you got to get ice bucket.
Let me tell you, strongest man from fingertips to elbow that I've ever met.
It's unbelievable. Knowing him like we do, and you know him obviously very well, it means a lot for him to come back.
It does.
You just tell.
Yes, you're right.
And his issues with the media, the East Coast and in Philly, and it's a different relationship there with the Phillies than it is here with the Cardinals.
I think the Hall of Fame helped do that too, Dan. Gave him the credibility in his own mind. You know, what with, you know, all of us have our own little insecurities and our little box of insecurities and stuff like that. And sometimes it takes the massive achievement of a Hall of Fame to put people comfortable enough to be around people. We said earlier that I know Steve Carlton as well as anybody. And believe me, he's a shy man. He's very reluctant to give of himself to anybody. And I think being in the Hall of Fame, that put him over it helped get through a lot of things that would have cost a fortune and I'm not psychoanalyzing Lefty anymore, and I'm psychoanalyzing myself. But I really believe the Hall of Fame helped him to that degree. I don't know that I could say that about anybody else, because I don't know anybody else in the Hall of Fame other than Gibson as well as I know Steve. He's an enthralling guy with a brilliant mind, and some would disagree with that because they don't want to take the time, because it takes some time with Lefty. You know, I've driven across the country 2 years in a row hunting. We hunted in British Columbia, in the, you know, everywhere in the Northwest, seemed like. The Bitterroot Mountains, Little Bighorn.
3-2 pitch, back-to-back strikeouts.
And again, to sum up the great Hall of Famer, we took his Blazer out, a 1972 Blazer, and driving across. So our first stop was Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And in the Blazer, he had a caulking gun. And I said, Lefty, what are we going to do? A couple of houses while we're out there? You know, what is the caulking for? He said, you never know. 40 miles outside Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We ran, I was driving, he was sleeping, napping, near George Mitchell's hometown. And I ran it, I was going to say I ran into it. Unfortunately, I hit a pheasant. The pheasant went through the radiator. Lefty went and got his caulking. He said, pull the beak out slowly. I did. He put the caulking gun in. He sold the Blazer 7 years later with the caulking still in the radiator.
You
and
never know, right?
That is a true story, and you never know.
I love it.
Didn't mean to talk over the base runner there, but right in the middle of that story. It's one of the classic Lefty stories.
That's great.
And you never know. Then he went back to sleep.
No big deal, huh?
No.
So back-to-back strikeouts, the base hit for Hernandez. And here is Rhys Hoskins. There's strike one. $14 of 20 first pitch strikes for Michael Wacha.
Michael has been so consistent tonight. You brought up his curveball. Very good control with everything. The changeup is a staple. It's always going to be there.
Here's the 0-1. One with the changeup there, down and in. 1 ball and 1 strike. We have looked it up. Keith O'Brien in our truck, always hustling with some of the stats that we can come up with, and the highest percentage of teams wins in a season, Steve Carlton, 1972. Ed Walsh, the 1908 White Sox, 45.5. Carlton, 45.8.
So that's the most games from a percentage standpoint ever won for a team.
So he's at 72, and then it goes 1908, 1904, 1901, and another 1901. The last one in the top 5 was Cy Young. Here's a 3-1 pitch to Hoskins. And he walked him. So the second walk issued by Michael tonight. And it brings in Odubel Herrera. What's on tap? It's John Gant tomorrow. And Gant will go with the St. Louis Cardinals in the start. Eflin, right-hander, 1-0. .71 ERA will go for the Phillies. That game will be seen on Fox Sports Midwest. And again, tune in early. We'll carry the 1968 ceremony live, and you'll see all the great players coming back to St. Louis. Herrera is 0 for 2 as he's trying to make it 44 straight games and reaching base. Strike one.
Dangerous hitter in this situation with 2 on, even though the Cardinals have a 5-run lead. A guy who is strapped to power. I know it's a funny looking batting stroke or batting stance. This guy can straighten up at the right time and hit the ball a long way. Very strong.
The 0-1. It's a down the right field line, but that'll hook foul. Yeah, this becomes a very important bat for Michael Wacha with 2 runners on.
No question about it. That was my point.
Yep.
Thinking right along with you, partner.
And a pitch in the dirt, a breaking ball that gets away. So 2 runners in scoring position.
It was a curveball. Francisco Pena going down with the glove. A lot of times, we talked about it last night. Breaking ball, you go down with your body. You go down with the breaking ball, anticipating the ball in the dirt. You don't need the glove. You could do it without a glove on. Don't try catching a fastball without a glove on, though.
Then spoiled by Herrera. So base hit could make it a 5-2 game. Long ball makes it a 2-run lead. It's been raining, but a muggy night here at the ballpark. You can see that it's built up, the sweat there on Michael Wacha. Outfield straight away and a 1-2 pitch. 2-2. '79 pitches for Michael Wacha. His spot due up 4th for the Cardinals in the home half of the 5th. The 2-2 pitch to Herrera. Up the middle, base hit. 1 run is in. Pham's throw to the plate is not in time. Strong throw by Tommy Pham. Not in time. Herrera drives in 2. He's now reached base in 44 straight.
Interestingly, the Cardinals didn't have a cutoff man there. Martinez is supposed to be there for the cutoff man. That was not a good piece of base running by Herrera. He should be on second base because of that. Center of the field is clear. There's no cutoff man. The throw is late. Herrera should be on at second base and could score on a base hit to the outfield. As it is, the Phillies scored 2 runs, and Michael Wacha's looking for 1 more out.
Injury or illness should never interrupt childhood. St. Louis Children's Hospital, guardians of childhood. So the base hit by Herrera was an infield hit by Hernandez that extended this inning with 2 outs. Then the walk. And now a single to make it a 5-2 Cardinal lead. 24 pitches in the inning for Michael Wacha. There's Carlos Santana, who was robbed by Dexter Fowler back in the 4th. What could have been a home run, would have been very close, but high atop the wall, and a catch made by Fowler. Santana's also struck out.
Yeah, you got a 5-run lead and you walk 2 with 2 out, nobody on. That's bad.
And with a strike, shift on the right side of the infield. Good pitch. 0-2. Here's the 0-2. Kept in front by Pena. Memphis Redbirds postponed tonight. Daniel Ponce de Leon, what a story he is. Coming back after the horrific liner off his head that put him in intensive care last year. And he's 2-2 with an ERA that's below 2.5. Pena's been busy this inning. Memphis 23-18 on the year. So the residual effect of all the moves for the Cardinals, it affects AAA and Memphis. Some of their top players now here with the Cardinals. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Cardinals, like a lot of organizations, expand their major league roster to their AAA roster.
This could be a very big pitch in this game here with the power of Santana.
You said that with Herrera, and you were right. I mean, that accordion is squeegeed up now to 5-2.
They're going to remind Herrera it's 3-2 and 2 outs. Remember last night not running on a similar spot.
Right.
So he'll be off with the pitch. There he goes and hit into the shift. Colton Wong is there. Base hit by Herrera that scores 2. 5-2 our score. So that's why we're only in the 5th inning as we approach 11 o'clock here in St. Louis. Andrew Knapp is the new catcher for the Phillies. Jake Arrieta did make the start for the Phils tonight. He went 3 innings. Hutchison now in his 2nd inning of work. Remember, Valentine came in at 3rd base and now Knapp behind the plate. Here's Dexter Fowler. Grounded into a double play and also walked. And Dexter with a high fly ball into shallow left. And the catch made by Hoskins for the first out. And the batter will be Colton Wong.
Dan, we talked about this last night a little bit, but watch the bottom hand of Dexter Fowler. It's lazy coming through the ball. That's one of the problems that can be corrected by trying to hit the ball back through the middle. But with the shift now, you've got a shortstop playing up the middle. So that takes the base hit away from a guy where it used to be just automatic. If you hit the ball hard up the middle, there's going to be a base hit. But Dexter Fowler trying to overcome that by lifting it to left field, and then your bottom hand becomes real lazy. And you just get the routine flies out there.
There's a 1-1 to Wong. There's some talk in Major League Baseball that there wouldn't be a banning of the shift, but maybe some rules regarding how much, let's say, a second baseman can go into shallow right. For instance, the play made by Wong to end the top half of the inning. That's backhanded by Hernandez.
How can you dictate to defensive players where they're supposed to be, though?
Well, I think what's happening here with Major League Baseball is there's major concern over the lack of movement and activity league-wide in the game. And
couldn't agree with you more, and I couldn't agree with Major League Baseball, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
How do you tell defensive players where to play?
Maybe there's markings on how far, you know, in terms of how deep you can go in the outfield, how far to the line you can go. My personal opinion, I don't know if you would agree, but I'd lengthen the strike zone to where then hitters.
Lengthen it meaning from down to up.
Yep. Pena, high fly ball, deep left field. It is gone. Francisco Pena is red hot. He's a triple away from the cycle.
Get out of Dodge.
Fourth career home run for Pena. They can't get this guy out.
No. Single, double, home run. He did not have a major league extra base hit coming into tonight's game. And wouldn't you know it, double and a homer, and he's got every reason to smile. My gosh.
Boy, you see that, it just takes you back to '68, doesn't it, Tim? The conga line. I can only imagine.
I'm trying to think if that takes me back to the Congo line. Congo line was a little different in 1960.
My favorite is seeing those the highlights there, and you know, Bob Gibson goes the distance in Game 7 of the World Series, and everybody, nice job, Bob. Handshake, well done.
Yeah,
let's go have a nice off season.
I'll tell you where we were cool in 1968 after the game, when we clothed and we put our Nehru suits on.
Nehru suits, huh?
We wore Nehru suits, N-E-H-R-U, that buttoned in the collar, and on 85 to 95 degree weather in St. Louis, they were so comfortable.
Oh, I bet. Steaming,
oh,
I bet.
I've got some pictures at home with those elevated shoes about 3 inches. I had a Nehru suit made in Montreal. That's where we used to go to get things done. That was after 1969, during that season. Man, we were Saturday Night Fever.
Ready to roll.
Ready. John Travolta, the Bee Gees.
As Tim likes to tell me at any conversation, I could boogie, Dan.
I can still boogie.
I can
I've
boogie.
told you that. I can. I love to dance.
Let's go.
I told you, Bill Dickey said, if you're going to be a catcher in the big leagues, you got to learn how to dance. I said, I love to dance.
Shallow right center. And the catch is made. Tim starts to dance. We had a conga line. We're celebrating 68, and this man is red hot.
He can dance and hit.
417 feet. Francisco Pena.
We stand ready to serve all military families.
Francisco Pena, a 3-hit night, triple away from the cycle. 6-2 our score. Saturday, June 2nd, 30,000 fans 16 and older take home a Cardinals Saturday alternate jersey with the embroidered front logo, courtesy of Scott Credit Union. Also, prior to the game, fans will be granted field access, first come first serve basis. That's photo day. Cardinals.com/promotions. I said, I guess it's been about 3 weeks ago, that I always answer mail.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people will tweet at you or email you, but the old-fashioned letter. I always answer letters, always write back, and I had a stack of letters waiting for me, and a very lovely letter from Nancy Greer. And I bring this up. She was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2002, beat that, and then about 10 years later diagnosed with ovarian cancer, beat that. I bring it up because she said, if you would please pass this along to Mr. McCarver, I would appreciate it.
That's very nice.
And the reason I am, because she said her husband helped her get through everything, and her favorite player all time and his, Tim McCarver, so much so,
shocked.
They even named their son after Mr. McCarver. And that's Nancy Greer from St. Louis.
Well,
so Nancy, we're thinking about you.
My thanks to Nancy.
Very nice letter. So if you write the Cardinals, I'll write you back. Just be nice in those letters.
Whether we can guarantee that.
Well, we can't.
No.
I would just appreciate it. Here's a 3-0 pitch to Knapp. And there's a strike. You know, the point of that story, though, there's so many people that you can have such a positive effect on in the game of baseball, and you've done that for years. Player, broadcaster.
Thank you.
It's very important.
We try to be honest, and we try to have fun.
Pitch count on Michael Wacha at 91. He has not gone past 100 pitches yet this season. And And the Cardinals really do pay attention to that pitch count. There's a strikeout.
That's a changeup Knapp's never seen before.
It's been good tonight.
Even though you can see it from the side, and it's not the same. Totally fooled.
And if you write the Cardinals, just look up their address right here at Busch Stadium. Put it to my attention. Had some great letters from little kids that are Cardinal fans telling me all about 8-year-old Little League ball. There's John Breby up and throwing in the Cardinals pen. Had the chance to MC the Cardinals Care grant ceremony today. And they handed out nearly $140,000 to kid charities throughout the Midwest. A bunch of those, majority of those here in St. Louis. Cardinals Care has raised over $24 million.
Wow.
Since its inception in the late 1990s. There's a broken bat. Watch out, fans. Wow. That carried up about 10-15 rows into the seats. Fans got the bat, and he's got some applause. Walker's got an out. Now give these fans some credit. Hour 35 rain delay.
Darn right.
Been raining basically the entire night.
Michael Wacha breaking another bat. We talked about it earlier. Michael, not the type pitcher that breaks a bat, but that bat will be replaced by a new bat.
That's the ash bat that when they break
on the handle.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't break in the trademark like the
Comes
Louisville
like
Sluggers.
like a weapon.
Yeah.
How sharp that can be.
Yes.
Pointed end. It's the pitcher Drew Hutchinson. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Kind of early in the year for this, isn't it? I mean, isn't your bullpen fresh enough with a 3-run deficit to not have your pitcher? I beg your pardon, a 4-run deficit. I mean, you're still with this offense.
I'm with you.
You know, I just don't. I think you, or you can let him hit, not waste a pinch hitter.
They have 2 available pinch hitters still.
I can maybe bring in somebody else from the bullpen, but to have Hudson pitch through another time in the order, which allowing him to hit, well, that's an out. They're precious.
2 strikeouts in the inning. 8 tonight for Michael Wacha. We're through 6. It's the top half. Coming up at the bottom, Pham Carpenter Martinez. and 8 strikeouts. That's one of the stories tonight. As long as things stick to plan, the Cardinals will have a win. It's still a long ways to go. Hutchison still in the game. Wacha ties his season high with 8 strikeouts. And here's a look at the night for Michael Wacha. He was strong early on. The 8 strikeouts and a chance to pick up a win, and also getting some run support tonight as well. Good breaking ball. Changeup was good. Solid night. 101 pitches this evening. By the way, Tony and Francisco Pena join Ed and Scott Spezio, father-son tandems, to hit a home run for the Cardinals. Is Ed here this weekend?
I think he is. I think.
And Scott Spezio, one of the heroes for the Cardinals in '06. He came up when the game was on the line. He was very good for the Angels, their championship run.
That's right. Especially Game 6 of the World Series in 2002.
Here's Tommy Pham, the top of the lineup for the Cardinals. He's been on base 3 times, pair of walks, and also an RBI double back in the 3rd. The 2-0 pitch. Pulled foul. Two and two.
Crowded Tommy Pham then. Tommy able to fight that ball off.
The 2-2 pitch. Pham. Base hit.
How'd he hit that pitch? Ball was on the ground, wasn't it?
Can't get him out tonight. He's on base for the 4th time.
Tried the slider. Ball down. I thought it was down even farther than that. Really, really good hitting by Tommy. 2 walks. Single, double, run scored. Not a bad night already.
Now Carpenter, base hit to left. Hard hit ball to first on a grounder, and then lined into a double play. Hit to the first baseman as well. Pham wants to run. Uh-oh. And they throw it away. And Pham will stop at second. I don't think it was ever touched by a fan.
There should be 2 errors on that play. One on Tommy Pham and one on Hutchison. Tommy dead to rights. He has been picked off by more than anybody in the National League.
The fan wanted to. Oh, I'm not going to do it. Nope, 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 nope. Little surprised Tommy's not at 3rd base.
If that fan picked it up, he would have automatically been allowed 3rd base. 2 from the field.
And that gets away.
That gets him to 3rd.
A sloppy night.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dan, that's a good point. I mean, you know, in fairness, it's really, there are tough conditions out there right now.
Sloppy field, sloppy defense. 4th wild pitch charge to the Phillies tonight. But
yeah,
that is certainly part of it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys, major league players' skills are honed on dry fields.
Now, Foro, remember, not in the game. Carpenter base hit into right field. 7-2 St. Louis. He has stung the ball tonight.
RBI number 15. This ball a rocket to right. It's funny, normally you have a shift on there. Why wouldn't that shift on then?
Runner at third, and they
runner at third. You can keep the guy at third base, keep your third baseman there, and open up the shortstop hole. They've been doing that all night. Yeah, with Tommy Pham, nobody out. Maybe thinking about playing the infield a little. That's a valid point.
Martinez with a drive. Center field at the wall. Gone. 2-run homer. Jose Martinez. Third hit of the night.
You get that choo-choo train going over there now. There we go. Cardinal fans love to see that. They know something good just happened. And that something good was Martinez's 5th home run of the year. RBI's number 24 and 5.
Run scored for Carpenter. That was his first since May 1st.
Martinez.
Which one?
He's Carlos. Yeah, that was Martina or Martini.
I know where your mind's at. The Nissan drive of the game, 418 feet off the bat of Jose Martinez. And it's a 9-2 Cardinal lead. The shift on the left side of the infield. 3-1. And there's ball 4 to Ozuna. I think that's big for him. Ozuna has walked twice, reached on an error run, scored. Ozuna not walking nearly at the rate that he was a year ago, which maybe tells you he's jumpy, a little uncomfortable. Get a couple of walks. Maybe you're seeing the ball a little bit better.
Maybe.
It's Rios who pitched last night. Right-hander getting loose in the pen. And that's up and into Jed Jerko.
Just good for the Cardinal team and their uplifted feelings to have a game like this, a 9-2 game. There have been so few like this year.
Here's a 1-0. And the 1-1 pitch to Jed Jerko. 2-1. Jerko a base hit back in the third with 2 runners on, drove in 2. He's driven in 11 this year. Two and 2. Could be 2. Out at second, and a double play. Sunday, June 3rd, Christian Day at the ballpark, presented by Thrivent Financial. After the Cardinals game against the Pirates, all fans invited to stick around. Here from Mike Matheny, several players, and featured guest speaker Willie McGee. Cardinals.com/Christian Day. Fourth double play the Cardinals have been into tonight. Here's Fowler. He is walked, flied out, and grounded into a double play. The way this game is going, Francisco Pena may have a couple of cracks at the cycle.
Yeah, but a triple for a guy who is as slow as Francisco is, in fairness, is tougher to get than any other hit, I think.
You never know.
One never knows.
You never know. Jose Martinez knows a long ball on that swing. 5th of the year, 9-2 Birds. By Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Ford, going further so you can. 9-2 Cardinals, 11 hits tonight. Greg Garcia takes over at shortstop. Tyler O'Neill in left, and the new pitcher John Brebbia in our Chevy call to the pen. Greg Garcia spoke to the kids today at the Cardinals Care Grant ceremony. Did a great job with it too. There's O'Neill in left.
Talked about Joe Buck's twins earlier, Joe and Michelle. And Greg Garcia's wife is pregnant. I think they are expecting in 2 months, I believe.
Two balls and a strike on Pedro Florimon.
Want to get Greg Garcia's wife in there. His wife's name is Hannah. Good player. He's been a good player in that role for the Cardinals for the last, what, 4 or 5 years. Very dependable.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. 3-2.
Good changeup on a 3-1 count.
The 3-2 pitch. Ground ball. Wong charges and makes the play. Phillips 66. What's left in the tank? It's Bud Norris. We won't see him tonight, you wouldn't think. Last 3 appearances, 3 2/3, only 1 hit. As he has emerged as a Cardinals closer, 9 for 9 in save opportunities.
Yeah, Cardinal fans are hoping they don't see him tonight, because that means a lot of damage has been done by the Phillies here in the last 3 innings.
Here's Valentin. One out and nobody on. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Another chance for Wong. 2 away. Be interesting to see how long the Cardinals can go with Brebbia. Used a lot here in the last 7 days. Be a situation where you'd love to stretch him out for the final 9 outs. We'll see how it plays out. With 2 outs, Cesar Hernandez. Crowd tonight 42,050. 42050. The Dodgers, no surprise, leading the way, and then there's the Cardinals, the average attendance over 40,000. St. Louis on pace again to get to 3-3, maybe 3-4.
It's unbelievable how the Cardinals draw.
It will be over 3 million again this year, and a lot of it is to get to 3-3 or 3-4 is dictated with wins and losses. 2-1 pitch. If you think about coming to the ballpark now, there's something to do, and there's usually a night for just about anybody with the theme nights, the giveaways, what they've done with the Budweiser Terrace, really a social area. Knocking out 1,000 seats down the right field line. And the 3-1. Out to deep right field. Fowler back. And it's just over the wall. And Hernandez, a home run, his 6th of the year.
Gene Mock used to refer to those as cookies. 3-1 cookie in a 9-2 ball game. The fastball, a get me over fastball, and turns into a batting practice fastball. Not meant to, but does, because you don't want to walk the hitter. He's still a good player. Cesar Hernandez.
Mentioned that Pena will go for the cycle in the bottom of this inning. 22 years ago to the day, John Mabry hit for the natural cycle. Did that against the Rockies. seems like with the ballparks in the National League West, you'd have a better chance playing in the West to have a natural cycle or a cycle period, especially in San Francisco. Dodger Stadium, pretty cavernous. Arizona's got some quirkiness to the wall. Certainly Colorado.
So it'd be easier there, you're saying?
Yes.
I think it'd be tougher.
Really?
Yes. San Francisco, home runs tough there. Triple's an easier, probably an easier place to hit a triple in San Francisco than any ballpark in the major leagues. Triple alley, right center field.
And a fly ball to Fowler, puts it away. Pena due up second when we come back. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. It's Chris Conroy, who's part of the medical team of the Cardinals. Over the past 10 years, there have been 2,450 instances of a player with a single, double, and home run. So in other words, one just about every game day. Just about. Well, it looks like something's probably not right with the home plate umpire. Chris Conroy checking in with him.
David Rackley. Hope David's all right.
Remember, Rackley took that ball off the head a few innings ago.
Double mask pop.
Chevy called to the pen. Rios is in to face Colton Wong. And Wong slices it down the left field line and foul. Still a very light mist falling here at the ballpark.
Been like this for about 6 innings.
And the 0-2. Phillies have talked about this young man. They love his arm. Mid to high 90s, but it seems like who doesn't this day and age of baseball? Everybody comes out throwing hard. Really not that big a deal anymore.
Yeah.
The ability of hitters, the understanding of the strike zone, that's part of the game now. Incredible. And an inch off the plate, and the guy takes that, and it shows up. It's a ball. That's part of the game today. Hard throwers out of a bullpen. Shifts. Wong, a drive out to deep right field. How long is this baby? Way out of here. Colton Wong. Solo home run.
Yeah, there's a guy who needs a train. Boy, hit a long way. Home run number 3 on the year. Well, that ball hit a long. That might be the longest ball he's hit as a Cardinal.
And here's Pena now. Single, double, and a homer. And with that home run, $1,000 donated to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri from the Gateway Honda dealers. Last catcher to hit for a cycle, George Kataris of Milwaukee in 2011.
I remember George Kataris. I don't remember the cycle, though.
It's a base hit into center. Good looking swing. Did this double. He jumped on that. This next one he really jumped on. Home run. No Cardinal catcher has ever hit for the cycle. I'm assuming you were close a few times. Yes, no?
Nah, I don't remember. No.
You could run, though. You had good speed.
I could run.
Manfred Zalmanek in a day game at Busch Stadium 2. Hit for the cycle, the last Cardinal to do that. You had 57, by the way, career triples, so pretty good number. '61 steals for my partner. It's pulled foul. One ball and 2 strikes. And a strikeout. They finally got him out tonight. So the strikeout of Pena in a 10-3 game with 1 out here in the home half of the 7th inning. Want to buy or sell tickets at the last minute? Get the StubHub app. You can grab 100% MLB verified tickets until the first pitch or sell your extras to another fan. Get the StubHub app today. Official partner of the Cardinals. Tyler O'Neill looking for his first big league hit. He's had a lot of home runs hit in the minor leagues. Tremendous numbers this year. 0 for 7 in his big league career. 1 ball and 1 strike. You can see why he would hit home runs. He is put together. Physical specimen.
Yeah, I mean, the baseball uniform really doesn't show on Tyler O'Neill like it could. I mean, real thin waist. He is very, very strong. Takes care of himself.
Two and two. The 2-2 pitch to O'Neill. Ground ball foul. Nickname in spring training was RoboCop.
Players will find a nickname for you.
I bet.
And sometimes it's not one that you would favor.
There it is. First major league hit for Tyler O'Neill. Takes the wide turn around first base. And the first major league hit in the career of Tyler O'Neill. Congratulations.
Bravo. The appreciative remainder here at Busch Stadium. It's nice. Hanging slider. Won't be a hanger for his grandchildren. It'd be low and away, nasty, biting.
I don't know about you, and you've been doing this a long time. I never get sick of that moment. First major league hit, first
sure.
strikeout.
Yeah.
A dream is realized.
What I'm waiting for is a pitcher who doesn't give him the first the pitch that he got. And just look at him and say, all right, he wants the ball. No, I'm not giving it to him.
Don't see that much anymore.
Just for the fun of it.
They did throw it to the wrong dugout momentarily. Then it made its way back over to the Cardinal dugout.
I'm obviously kidding.
Cardinals with that base hit by O'Neill have tied a season high with 13 hits. Give us the ball. The 2-1. Big night for Tommy Pham. 2 runs scored, 2 walks, 2 hits. The 3-1 pitch. Pham up the middle, off of Rios, and he'll be on base for the 5th time.
Oh boy. That one, I think, got him on the left shin. That ball was really hammered. And what added to the thump, I think, was the fact that the grass is wet. That ball actually gathered speed, it looked like to me. That hit was resounding. Bruising.
108, by the way, off the bat.
Oh. Oof. Yeah, the left shin looked like the inside of the left shin.
There was a scary moment a few years ago with Tommy Pham. Matter of fact, it was in 2015 where he hit a ball in and he was locked in like he is now. We were in Milwaukee. He hit a ball so hard off the head of Jimmy Nelson, it almost carried into the seats.
Oh, gosh.
Near the dugout, and that was a scary moment. I don't know. I think the more I watch, I think Major League Baseball is going to have to do something. I don't know what.
With the bats?
Either the bats, the ball, but something to protect the pitcher.
Yeah, they've got hats that are available to be worn.
I mean, Tim, tonight we've had 4 now that have come back and hit a pitcher.
Yeah.
4 of them.
Yeah. And when that pitcher ends up, after he throws the ball, he's about 50 feet from home plate. That's not a lot of time to react.
There's Carpenter with a couple of hits, and his outs have been hard hit balls. Runners at first and second. 1 out, 10-3 our score. You make a valid point. I don't know if it's the bat, the ball.
I think it's the bat more than the ball. The
Players
ball,
talk about, though, the hardness of that ball.
well, the ball has been the culprit in past instances. But to me, after inspecting today's bats, I think it's the maple wood as opposed to the ash.
1 ball, 1 strike with 2 runners on. The shift once again for Matt Carpenter. Two and 1. Two and 2. Inside in a full count. You know, the previous pitch, I'm sure, is frustrating for Carpenter. It was a ball, ruled a strike. And you get it, 10-3 game. It's late now. You know, strike zone may widen a bit, but for a guy that's trying to get it going and maybe starting to get locked in, you can understand why that would be a call that would frustrate you.
He's had some very good at bats tonight.
Yep.
All 4, as a matter of fact.
And a swing and a miss. He
That was
strikes
a
out.
nasty pitch. Nothing you can do about that.
So 2 outs, both on strikeouts this inning. Plaza Tire Service, Fox Tracks. There's a ball inside to Jose Martinez. Martinez with 3 hits. Carpenter 2 hits. Pham on base 5 times. So even Ozuna, you look at what he's done tonight, on base 3 times. 1 through 4 has done some damage in this game. And the 1-0 pitch to Jose Martinez. A strike. One through 4, he's reached base 13 times. Out of play. Martinez, base hit into right field. O'Neill will score. Pham to third. Now being brought in. And he will score. Jose Martinez drives in 2 more. A 4-hit night for Jose Martinez.
Yeah, just tremendous plate coverage. There were some people, 50 years ago or so, that said that baseball is not a game for tall people. Try telling Martinez that.
Isn't that the truth? Well, on a night when you had Jake Arrieta and Michael Wacha, you thought runs might be tough to come by. Not tonight, not for St. Louis. A strike to Greg Garcia. $12 runs tonight. 13 is the season high for the Cardinals. Pulled foul. John Breby at the on-deck circle. You know he wants to swing the bat. Any reliever wants to. One and two.
Sometimes relievers get up there and you don't know. I mean, they may have been with the team for 3 or 4 years. You're not sure whether they're right-handed or left-handed.
Right. Whose bat are they going to use?
Yeah.
And batting gloves. And helmet.
Boy, is that irritating when you come out and pitchers are hitting, and some pitchers got your bat, and then you check it out and it's your gamer.
That's a no-no. The strikeout of Garcia. 3 more runs scored. 15 hits tonight for the Cardinals. Tyler O'Neill, first ever big league hit. Long home run, Colton Waugh. Got it started in that 3-run inning.
third base umpire goes in. That was, I beg your pardon, the second base umpire, Hunter Wendelstedt, has to go in and put on his equipment. He puts on the chest protector, shin guards, and he brings out his mask. Each are designed to fit the different umpires, and they each have their own set. That's the reason for the delay.
The unfortunate aspect of this, and again, you know, it's a physical situation with the umpire. You just wish the decision would have been made immediately after the final out. And then in that regard, you could try to speed this up, and now Brebbia gets hot. He's loose, and now all the Cardinals except for two head back in the dugout. And again, I'm not blaming the umpire.
No,
I mean, it happens.
Sure. It could be a situation. Looks like Larry Vanover is going in to check and see how Wendelstedt is doing. We think Wendelstedt's going to be the home plate umpire.
Rain delay, and now a human rain delay. It happens. As the home plate umpire David Rackley was injured or dizzy or whatever the case may be, but unavailable to continue. Hunter Wendelstedt put on his equipment to go behind the plate. John Brebbia had gotten loose. I'm sure they'll give him a few pitches to get back in, ready to roll. Meanwhile, we turn to our Budweiser plays of the game. A lot to choose from. How about the offense? They busted out. Big night for Martinez. First major league hit for Tyler O'Neill. And so Brebbia starts to throw. Players back on the field. Be a quick turnaround for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, big league ball, Danny. This is the big leagues.
It's the big leagues, man. The big leagues. You do or you don't.
Hang with them.
He's trying to. That young man there was. Some of our young fans are starting to
yeah,
nod off.
Sometimes it's tough on everybody to find the best seat in the house.
That couple right there got the home run ball off the bat of Colton Wong. They stuck around and got a souvenir, and a night they won't forget.
Yeah. One thing in a game like tonight, you get fans that are scattered in the lower stands, and perhaps their guard is down, and a lot of check swings and stuff like that. You really have to be wary of things like that if you're a fan with young children. Have your attention drawn elsewhere, talking about school or family or what have you.
I thought our outstanding cameraman Tony West brought up a fantastic point the other day. Tony's been doing this a long time. He said, you know, you go back to 20 years ago. That's to Bader in center. And as a cameraman or woman, we have Dawn working up here at the booth, does a great job with us. That at the end of the game, you know, this is the big moment, and you're trying to catch everything. The players' reaction in the dugout and the fans. He said 20 years ago, fans were on the edge of their seats, anticipating the big moment. There's Dawn. And he said now when you get that shot, everybody's trying to capture the moment on their phone. You know, instead of just watching the action live, it's
game's changed, life has changed.
Catching the action on your phone, and that's something that leads into the fact that you've got to be ready in a big league stadium for any foul ball. And so many fans are on their phones.
That is a great point.
Bader again for out number 2. If you think about it, every stadium is wired for Wi-Fi, and fans are playing fantasy baseball, or maybe they're following their, you know, other teams that they enjoy, and you can watch a game on your phone. So you know, you're at the ballpark, your head's down, and all of a sudden you've got to be watching out. There's a good example right there, that young lady. And a ground ball hit to the right side. Tim, that's big league stuff there. 5-pitch inning.
What? Oh, what?
That's the big leagues right there, man. bases. Pedro Florman is a position player, and he will pitch. This is the position player that the Phillies went to on March 31st when they were playing the Atlanta Braves, and we talked about how here you were in the first couple of games of the regular season already going to a position player.
I mean, it was ludicrous.
Here's Stephen Barron. So Barron back in the big leagues.
The mound meetings count now.
Barron pops it up. Playable.
How about a ball hit that high after Barron lost the bat?
Bat went to the backstop.
Yeah, the bat didn't crack or break. Believe me, I'm not laughing at Stephen Barron's swing or anything. It's just odd to see a bat flying toward the. I mean, this is like a Edgar Allan Poe. It's getting Poe-ish. Once upon a midnight dreary, as I pondered weak and weary, Dan.
But we're going strong, Tim. You bet we are. This is big league baseball, baby.
Edgar Allan Poe taught me to look over my shoulder walking on the street. I used to be scared to death of the dark when I was a kid.
Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, don't be scared now.
Well, I've gotten
You're
over
a grown
it,
man.
okay?
You're a grown man.
I mean, I'm over 50. I left myself a lot of room there.
Just a little wiggle room on that one, but yeah,
a little bit.
But it was a true statement.
A true statement, yes. I weighed that before I made.
2-2 the count. Florman homered in the game last night, pitching here today. And Fowler grounds it softly into the shift for the out. So 2 quick outs. Pedro Florman is our Chevy call to the pen. I didn't think we'd be saying that in this series, but here we are in game 2 and a late night. And it brings in Colton Wong. Love the pace of Florman.
Mike how he stays on top. All fastballs thus far.
I'm not worried about mechanics. I'm not worried about velocity. I love the pace. Gets it and goes. Here's a 1-1.
I think I've told you this story. A good buddy of mine, Glenn Wilson, played for the Phillies, outfielder. He was 2 years away from retirement, and he bought 2 service stations in Bay City, Texas. And get out so I can finish the story. So he bought 2 service stations in Bay City, Texas. And he said, you know, when I found out it was time to retire? And I said, no. He said, when I started thinking about my mechanics. I said, your mechanics? He said, yeah, my mechanics in my service stations.
What's the matter with you?
No, it's a true story. It's one of the great stories. I thought about my mechanics in the service stations, and I quit. It's a fact.
Florman, a 1-2-3 inning.
Great mechanics.
Tim with some of his best material of the year.
And that's a shame.
Stroke of midnight. the previous 5 games for the Cardinals, 14 runs, but 12 tonight. Mentioned the quick turnaround tomorrow. John Gant will get that start for St. Louis. And we will come your way at 12:30. 1:15 with the first pitch. It's our Chevy call to the pen. Mike Myers into the ball game. Last time we saw him, it was 1 pitch. Eric Hosmer, a base hit into right, and a walk-off in extra innings against San Diego. Mike Myers, exceptional spring, and he's been on that I-55 Memphis to St. Louis, back and forth, back and forth. The Hyundai pitch arsenal, fastball, slider.
It's only 290 miles from Memphis to St. Louis, but for a lot of AAA players, it's a lot farther because you don't know where you're going to be. Might be on the road in California. Have to show up in St. Louis. It is a tough, not everything peaches and cream existence for minor leaguers.
Good fastball at 97 from Mike Myers. The 68 club will get together tomorrow, what, 10 a.m.?
I think it's 10 a.m. for brunch.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Nick Williams, and a ground ball that's hit to second. First out. The stories will be flowing around 10 a.m. tomorrow here at the ballpark. Can guarantee that. And I get to take in some of that too. I'm like a fly on the wall, just taking in the stories. Love it. Michael Franco. There's Bader. 2 away. So the delay of 1 hour and 35 minutes. And now the Cardinals 1 out away from finishing up the ball game.
And about a 20-minute umpire change, I suppose. About 20 minutes, some 25 maybe.
I keep saying the ball game tomorrow. It's today.
Yeah, right.
Big League Baseball. Come on, Dan. The big leagues. Get your sleep, come back to the ballpark, and be ready. I mean, it's just not that hard. You got to do it. Hey, did I ever tell you a story about a mechanic? No.
It's really bad when your partner catches you at a down moment. Starts feeding on your weaknesses.
No, sir.
Hang with them, baby.
You got it. The 1-2 to Pedro Florimon.
We say it a lot, Dan, but to play this game and this many games, you got to be one tough dude.
Yep.
What's required to be a big league player? It ain't easy, baby.
The 2-2 lifted in the air. Right center, Bader back, and it's gone. Pedro Florimon, another home run in this series.
Does he get that down when he pitched?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a scoreless top of the 9th, and then homers here in the bottom. Or excuse me, bottom of the 8th, and a home run here in the top of the 9th.
So it would be listed as home runs as a pitcher. 0 for 3 as a position player tonight.
Go figure. You know what, though, in all seriousness, he was hitting 90 on the gun, threw the ball well, had a 1-2-3 in a big league game, and hits a home run.
Yeah.
Here's the 0-1. And it's 0-2. That home run made it 12-4. The Cardinals about hit the Phillies tonight, 15-7. Florman is now leading all Philly pitchers with 1 home run.
That's great.
2-2. He'll try to end it here. The 2-2 pitch. He does, called third strike. And the ball game comes to a close. 12-4 the final, and a big night for Francisco Pena, the triple away from the cycle.
Nice job, partner. Nice going.
A lot of fun. More coming up today. Post-game show, though, is next.